Hello and welcome to our series ChildrenPlus Connects. With me, I have Ms. Uttara Singh, Director, the Shriram Millennium School. Welcome, ma'am. Namaste.
Namaste. Very happy to be here.
Ma'am, I want to jump right into what the topic of our series is. How important do you think mental health is for a child's academic achievement?
So, if you ask me, I think mental health is very important for a child's overall achievement. Why should we only focus on academics, right? Definitely for academics, it's extremely important because only when you are in a learner's framework, when you are mentally agile, when you are mentally present, when you are mentally healthy, will you be able to absorb whatever is being taught or whatever you are learning, and then definitely, bring it into action. But along with academic achievements, I think children who are inclined towards sports or towards music, dance, anything, any field at all, until and unless you are mentally in a state of joy or mentally in a state of readiness to be able to learn, to be able to explore, to be able to, utilize all your faculties to be able to reproduce whatever is the best version, mental health is extremely important there. So I think the more we understand it and the more we kind of accept it, that when we are working with children, whatever be the framework, whether it's school, home, anywhere, and we want the child to move from stage 1 to stage 2 in his learning graph, mental health is very, very important.
My next question would be, how does mental health or the challenges that come with mental health manifest in a student in their sports performance or overall performance at school?
So again, see, mental health is a very large, term, right? It encompasses so many things. But if I talk about it in general, into what we see in schools, in let's say in a case that's not severe, in a normal child. So what will you see? In a very small child, you will see an anxiety of separation, right? Some children very joyfully come to school. They don't really have that, where's mama, where's papa? Very nicely you tell them, oh, they're at office, come back, they'll be fine. So they adjust easily. But there are some who are very stressed about it. And you see that in even very young children. Obviously, then as that grows, if that stress is not handled, if the child is not assured, is not made to feel comfortable, secure, all of that kind of then manifests into things which are which lead to anxiety about self, lack of confidence, and in more practical things, you may find they don't come to school, they don't want to be part of groups, they prefer isolation. And I think also these days, with so much of thing into machines, into the connection to the whole world through a machine, anyway isolation is a problem, right? And if you are in a state of mental health that is not comfortable, where you are not feeling comfortable, I think that isolation can just go to the next level. So we have seen that with children, wherever there is even a hint of a concern, of anxiety, of stress, of any other issue connected to mental health, you will find withdrawal as one of the first symptoms. Whether it is withdrawal from family, withdrawal from activities, you just don't want to go there because you don't want to handle it. So what do? You isolate yourself. You stay away. I think that is the first sign or signal if a child is not interacting. Because as human beings, we are naturally supposed to be a social being, isn't it? I mean, today it may not be, but I think naturally we are social and we like to be social. So I think the first thing we should watch out for is withdrawal symptoms from any kind of activity, from any kind of involvement. Also then it leads to poor academic results. It leads to, performance going down. So a very great sports person who looks forward to practice every day may not want to get up in the morning and come to play, may not be as active and energetic on the field, may be lethargic. Those are clear signs that this person is going through something.
What I understand is that it's like a borderline between somebody being an introvert or probably, a little reserved. And if that be the case, you really need somebody specialized to identify this issue. So for your school, do you have any, you've deployed any resources or trained resources which could identify these?
Absolutely. So, one is, of course, the trained counselors are present in school, and they are there with their entire, and they continuously go through training. But what we as a school do is we ensure that we try and train all our teachers, because they are the first point of contact with a child. Now, when a child comes to school and you have a class, a teacher is supposed to really interact and know each and every child, really well. Maybe it takes a month, 2 months initially, that adjustment happens, but very quickly the teachers are trained to form those bonds. And you'll be surprised that, children many a time will confide in their teachers before their parents even have a hint of something going wrong, because we build that trust. So the children, if they trust the adults around them and they are facing issues and concerns, will come. So the adults have to create that whole environment of trust. They have to be, they have to understand and have an eye to immediately understand that intuitive sense. And see, we appoint teachers who love children, who have that attitude that is absolutely correct, I think what's important is involvement with children. And definitely specialized counselors are there, special educators are there. We undergo a lot of training, because when you're working with children, I think that's very important.
Are there any other signs that one should look out for if you think that a child is facing mental health challenges, apart from withdrawal or keeping away?
Some children, like you mentioned, introverts, right? So an introvert may become even more so. A child who's an extrovert could also go extreme and go into bullying. He may want to handle his own problems by kind of putting it out on others. So that is another thing that you see sometimes, that the children who are the most, sometimes the most popular, the ones who are there, they also could be going through these concerns, because unfortunately today the pressures on our youngsters, on our teens, is so high to have a very high public opinion, a very positive public, opinion about yourself. So whether it's Instagram, whether it's Facebook, whether it's any other social media, the number of likes you get, how popular is your post, how many people have seen it, what are the comments that are coming on it. This is a very, it's a double-edged sword. One, it can give you positive motivation, but on the other hand, in case you're not getting the desired response, it can take you down a road that's very difficult to walk. And if a child has to walk that road alone, and very often it is alone, because these are things they don't even discuss with peers. So I think IQ, I really feel, and I keep telling my school this, we have to have an adversity quotient. You have to teach children how to handle failure, how to handle adversity, how to be able to deal with it and still not let it affect you mentally. So as a school, we do a lot of that. We have a lot of programs right from a very young age, right up to our senior school, to ensure that children have that understanding, the support, and the conviction that this is not the be-all and end-all of things, And of course, if there is a mental health concern that requires medical intervention, that also is very important, and parents have to accept it. That yes, this is, if a child has a cold cough, you don't mind giving them a crocin, paracetamol immediately, you don't think twice. But if there is a mental health issue, medication is looked at as if it is going to be, really, really something huge. I feel we have to actually make it real, make it acceptable, and make it okay. That it's fine. It is a part of our body, and things could go wrong anywhere. So why make mental health into something which is, which is so big? It's not. It should be treated as a normal thing. And I think the more we normalize it, the better it will be for all of us.
Another question that comes to my mind is that I think building up of stress can eventually lead to further mental health issues. Now, stress is at a very basic level. Are you able to identify that, or also get children to deal with stress on a day-to-day basis?
Children are not taught how to handle emotions, okay? They are taught the ABCs, reading, writing, arithmetic, all of that is taught normally as a school that is considered as part of the curriculum. But who is going to teach them anger management? Who is going to teach them that crying is okay? Who is going to teach them that even culturally, if it is said boys don't cry, but boys do cry, and it's absolutely fine? And so we have, again, we've looked at it in such a manner that we've integrated programs on mindfulness. We have circle time, we do the Little Light program we have, where we actually, talk to children about their feelings and their emotions and how to handle it. Now, grief, right? During COVID, there was a lot of, the environment was one of fear, the one of grief. So we had to work with children and, let them know that these are emotions that will come in your life and this is how you handle it. Whether it's breathing, we do a lot of that. We do a lot of mindfulness, calming them down. So we have a gong that plays. So I think these regular practices, when a child does it, many times out of a sheer thing कि मुझे करना ही है, but they realize the benefits of it. And slowly, 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 they learn to handle it. Like you said, stress is a part of life. But we should, even this word manage stress is not the right word, I feel. Why do you need to manage it? You should just get rid of it, isn't it? That's what I feel. Why have it at all? When you manage something to make it better. But I don't know, I personally feel that you should just get rid of it ASAP. And I think we need to equip children with those skills, which is very, very important. Whatever it may be. That, some children doodle. Some children will draw. Some children would just want to run, go for a run. And so find that thing in you which helps you handle the emotion. I think that's what we need to work with.
That's a very important point. So find what gives you peace or get away from stress. Now, what about the other ecosystem? Because you take care of the children at school, then they eventually go back to an environment which is outside of school. And you would also need support because while your ecosystem is trained to handle this, what about the ecosystem they go back to? So at some level, you would also want to talk to that ecosystem and ensure that they also play a role in this.
Absolutely.
What are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. Very, very important. And I'm very happy that today, as a community, as a society, we are addressing mental health. It's no longer in the closet. So I think the first thing we have to acknowledge and be happy about is that the world today talks about mental health. Also, there are various role models in the world who are coming out with this, So for children, it becomes easier. Similarly for parents. So, the way for parents, what happens is they feel their child is their creation, and anything you create is so precious and has to be perfect because you feel it is a reflection of you. This is my child. If he or she is perfect, then I have done something great. And in case there is something that doesn't work perfectly, again, if it's a physical thing, you feel, ye to theek ho jayega. Now, mental health was something I feel which was an unknown, factor. So people were not sure how will it progress. Is it going to become okay or is it going to be a problem always? So that uncertainty is what, sometimes gets parents into a lot of stress themselves. All these things are helping parents also understand that yes, if there is a concern, there is a solution. And there is a whole, system today out there that supports mental health, that supports all kinds of things that are connected to mental health, and it is no longer taboo. If you're comfortable about this topic, I think half the problem is over. You've won half the battle. Minute you've accepted that there's a problem, now you look for the solution. The problem is if you don't accept there's a problem. If you keep saying there's nothing wrong with my child, he's absolutely fine, usko neend aati hai, koi baat nahi hai, sota nahi hai, koi baat nahi hai, addicted to TV, koi baat nahi hai, ye to hota hai, people do this. You can't talk like that. I think the first thing parents have to understand, and I'm happy to say that I have a large number of people today who are very well aware of this and who are supporting the children through it too.
So that's excellent news, and I think as a society we've evolved quite a lot. But do you think there is some amount of stigma? While there is acceptance, but is there a stigma still attached to a child who's labeled as somebody who's facing mental health challenges?
So what should I say? It's driven from external sources. So if you create a community around a child or around anybody, why children? We have teachers who've gone through a lot of mental health issues because I think we have as a human race lived through this pandemic and realized a lot of things, right? So the community support at that time is very, very important. So keeping that in mind, I feel it's, the stigma is there. I won't deny it that it's all, roses and perfectly all right. But I think slowly and steadily the world is moving towards that. The stigma is more, it comes more out of fear, that what is it going to lead to? Because anything that's unknown scares you, right? So I think the more and more that awareness is building around this, the more people understand what is mental health, the more they understand that it is not something that is going to permanently create damage. There are cures for it, there are solutions for it, and you can come out better and stronger. So I think the stigma is something that is slowly, going away from the society. But yes, we have a huge rural, semi-urban sector in our country where I think much more needs to be done. We need to help people understand, that these again are things that can be solved. We need medical care to reach those places. So it's a mix at the moment. But at least we are moving. We are moving in a positive direction, is what I feel.
So that's really good news that we're all moving in the right direction and our awareness levels are going up. Finally, my last question to you, ma'am, is that in future, let's say in the near future, do you think there are some interventions in policy or mandates that need to be introduced at school level or primary school level that will ensure a better society and probably free from mental stress? I mean, you cannot be free from mental stress, but at least identify and deal with the problem.
So, I do think that a lot is already being done because of the awareness that's there. Schools, most progressive schools today do look at it, as a part of their job, really, to ensure that children have a good environment and that their mental health concerns, because see, you cannot say that it's not there. It is there. That those are handled correctly and appropriately, and the earlier the better, So, it's very important that it's handled very early. In terms of policy, definitely with the new education policy that's come up, there is a whole talk on activities. There is a talk on, having a double board exam, reducing the stress on children, anxiety on children. Somewhere I feel we have to also have this system of examinations not be the judgment factor for our children. And that is not something that the government can do really, because the government has to have a centralized system. I think that is something that we have to do. And again, with the CUET coming and things like that, there is a reducing of pressure on children. And definitely, I'm sure as mental health becomes living room conversation, then it is going to find acceptance and it is going to find solutions. And it will be easier for children to talk about it. It will be easier for adults to handle it. And I think overall, we need to look at it as a part of life. We need to equip our children with those skills. And like I told you earlier, I feel very strongly, along with, working on their intelligence quotient, their emotional quotient, their social quotient, we need to work on their adversity quotient and actually teach our children it's okay to fail. You can get up, you can walk again, you'll probably walk faster, better, just get up, and also value yourself. I'm deeply spiritual, right? So I do feel that, when you have that faith, whatever it may be, that also gives you a lot of strength. So to come out of any mental health issue, having faith in either yourself or in somebody who's supporting you, that they would help me get out of this and I'll be okay, is very, very important. So again, we come back to community. That community support, having people around you who love you, who care for you, irrespective of your body image, your social image, your academic achievements. Everybody can't be the best in everything. So we have, like in our school, we always say better your best. Just be the best version of yourself, whether it's version 1.2, 2.2, whatever it may be. Just make sure you are that best version of yourself and you go out there and make a mark. And I think that's what works for our children.
I think what I really gather is some very important points. The first one being that have belief in yourself and just try and better whatever you are doing. And that's it. The other thing, I think an important point you've made is that acceptability and conversations around mental health. So we have to be open about this issue. I know children, what I gather is that children are able to do this really well in schools. But I think as parents, as families, a lot of this, the onus also lies on us to take this forward.
True, very true.
And I think as we talk openly about this, just like a wound we have or we've got a scar or we've got hurt, if this becomes a common conversation, we could definitely increase the chances of children's well-being and a society which will be progressive. So thank you so much, ma'am. It was really insightful, and we got to learn a lot. And I hope the others also take a cue from our discussion and work towards betterment of children.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I'm happy I could be of help.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste.